Welcome back to BCFM, the Beyond Coruscant podcast. Thank you for joining me today. I am your host, Cooper. I am so excited to be discussing some of the best news in pop culture with you this evening. We're going to talk about Avengers Doomsday, the teaser trailer released in cinemas alongside Avatar Fire and Ash. We're going to talk a little Star Wars news, some new games announced, some Lego releases coming in the new year. We're going to chat all things Star Wars, and we're going to finish up with a bit of a dedication to one of my favorite directors, Wes Anderson, and a review of The Phoenician Scheme. I watched it for the first time the other night. I want to share my thoughts on it. Make sure if you are watching on YouTube to give this video a like. It recommends this video to more people, which is putting our thoughts and discussions into the hands of more people to build this community. And speaking of building the community, we're trying to reach 1,000 subscribers. We are so close now. Help us out, hit the subscribe button so you can stay tuned for more of these podcasts and more excellent videos. All right, let's start off with Avengers because that is undoubtedly the biggest news that we're going to talk about today. It had been speculated that we were getting 4 teaser trailers alongside Avatar Fire and Ash in cinemas, and it wasn't necessarily confirmed by Marvel itself, but it turns out it's true. We got our first teaser in front of the first screenings of Avatar 3, and it did leak online early, so a lot of people, myself included, got exposure to that trailer through the online leaks. But a lot of people who I know went in and didn't even know they were getting it. So depends on how you received it. Maybe depends on how you perceive how this trailer was. But major spoilers here. If you haven't seen it or don't want to see it or don't want to know anything Doomsday, skip to the next section of the podcast or click off the video or whatever. But we do have confirmation that Steve Rogers is returning. Chris Evans coming back to the MCU. Since, the last time we saw him was 2 years ago in Deadpool and Wolverine, but obviously as Johnny Storm. He's coming back as Steve Rogers. Now, this news has caused a bit of a rift amongst the Marvelites, the MCU fanatics, because some people, like Jack, would say is that Steve Rogers' inclusion in this movie kind of undermines all that development that they're doing for Sam Wilson as Captain America, that they dedicated a whole movie to Sam Wilson as Captain America, and now they're bringing back Steve Rogers, who might take on that Captain America mantle again. And then what does that do? What does that suggest about Marvel's confidence in these characters? Does it really just take it back and say, "Oh no, we don't trust the formula here"? Brave New World bombed at the box office, even though it actually did okay. No, let's resort to something that we know is trusted and is going to make us money. Let's bring back Chris Evans. There's that camp. Then there's the camp who see it as, oh, that's interesting. It's not Captain America will return. It's Steve Rogers will return. How will he be returning? Will he be coming back as Captain Hydra, maybe working with Doom? Or is it more likely that, given the news that broke recently, that Doomsday will follow on directly from the Endgame final shot, which of course was Steve and Peggy dancing back in 1940s, 1950s, whenever it was, that Doom is going to somehow relate to this, that Steve's traveling back through time to return the stones is a sin for the multiverse. It has ruptured the multiverse. It's causing this incursion, and Doom is there to say, hey, not on, buddy. So it's going to be interesting to see how Chris Evans comes back and what sort of role he plays, if he's going to be a main character, which would be surprising to me because I feel like he would have been announced in the main cast, the chairs, back like a couple months ago when they did that reveal, or back before production started. That might have been a year ago now, but no, they're showing this teaser in front of Avatar Fire and Ash, a movie that they suspect will make lots and lots of money because lots and lots of people will go and see it. And that's the exposure they're doing. They haven't released this teaser online in any capacity. So they are trusting that the people who go and watch this cinema will go, oh, Chris Evans is coming back. Oh, we got to go watch Doomsday then. It's an interesting bit of marketing. I really feel like this way of confirming Chris Evans being back is, I don't know, not the best from Marvel. But also, there had been rumors that he'd been spotted on set, that he'd been working with a ton of people. So it wasn't a huge surprise to see that. It's more just a confirmation now that he's coming back. But you know what? I welcome it. it'll be interesting to see how I assume he and RDJ will interact. And it's hard to kind of formulate what sort of interaction Chris Evans is going to have in this movie because we don't know what sort of version they're doing of Doctor Doom yet. Is it going to be a Tony Stark variant? Is it going to be Victor Von Doom specific? We don't know. I think it's really going to depend on which route they go down as to what the interaction between those two characters will be. But regardless, very exciting. Had a countdown, so we are officially under 1 year away from the movie now, which is very, very exciting. There are leaks online, unfortunately, of the second teaser, which focuses on Thor. I would say it's not as a tease for maybe the story because with at least with Steve Rogers opens up the okay, so we are looking at time travel again, clearly, or at least the ramifications of what happened at the end of Endgame. The Thor one, at least from what I've seen, confirms what he's going to look like and kind of maybe confirms how he might be able to interact with Loki. That's all I got from it. It's not a huge groundbreaking teaser. Apparently, the next one is going to focus on, I believe it was Doom focused teaser, which would be good. And then the final one was going to be the actual teaser trailer that will release online to the public. Regardless, interesting marketing. We're still a year out. That's what I find so fascinating about this. They're going to drop a teaser trailer for one of the most hyped movies, probably of definitely of this decade. Almost 1 year away, or just under 1 year away from the release of the movie. I don't know if that's really ever been done. I know they did it with Oppenheimer, but yeah, just very, very fascinating marketing. But you know what? You've sold me. I'm excited. And the reason I'm excited about Doomsday, and it's what Jack and I spoke about on the podcast a couple of weeks ago, is we have no idea what this movie is going to be. We have no idea what direction they're going, what character dynamics we're going with. Obviously, we're going to go the incursion route because they've set that up with the X-Men, with the post-credit scene of the Marvels, and with Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness post-credit scene. There's clearly this setup for this incursion, and we're probably going to get an Avengers vs. X-Men sort of crossover with Doom kind of orchestrating it all. But we don't know if that's true. There's been reports. I also don't know if this is confirmed or not, but the screenwriters and the Russo brothers of Doomsday, who did Endgame and Infinity War, were so adamant against coming on for Doomsday, but there was one idea that got them up in the middle of the night that they were super excited about that made them sign on. So we wonder what that idea is going to be. But again, we're not going to find out for a long, long time. I do not expect the teaser or the official trailer, whenever that comes out, to give us any indication of what this story is going to be. That's what the Infinity War trailers did really well. That's what the Endgame trailers did really well. We are not going to get a real understanding of this film until we see it on December 16th, December 18th, whenever it is next year. So yeah, that's kind of the Avengers news. We're going to get more, especially, I mean, Secret Wars is probably going to start filming start of next year, because that is obviously going to come out a year after, or half a year after Doomsday. There's also, of course, Spider-Man Brand New Day coming next year, which has officially wrapped filming. I think the reshoots have finished filming as well. So we are in for a bit of a treat next year for Marvel. So if you are a Marvel fan of ours and just in general, we will be breaking down all the movies, all the teasers, reacting to it all. I think we've got a couple of shows as well next year. I can't quite remember. I know Wonder Man is coming out in a couple of days, which will be exciting. But yeah, it's an interesting time for Marvel. A lot of up in the airness of things, but exciting, very exciting. Right, we'll move on to Star Wars. Now, you know, Star Wars was the birth of this channel. Obviously, we wanted to share more with you guys, so we expanded, but, you know, we still love our Star Wars. We still want to discuss our Star Wars with you. And at the Game Awards a couple of weeks ago, or last week, they announced 2 brand new Star Wars games coming in the near future. One of them, Star Wars Galactic Racer, which looks like pod racing slash, I guess, land speeder chases, whatever. Very much a Star Wars racer game. Not something we haven't seen before because we have seen them on earlier editions of consoles like the PS2 and the Xbox, I guess, Xbox 360. But an updated PS5, Xbox Series X, Xbox Series S, not revamp, but like new racing game has got a lot of people excited. I myself, I'm not personally totally down to this, but that's just because I don't really love racing games that much, and I always find like the vehicle side of Star Wars to be not that interesting. I know, particularly with, I would say Outlaws really suffered from this. I would say Jedi Survivor suffered from this. Just the vehicle and the animal riding gameplay wasn't very good. So I don't really have a lot of faith in this game. I'm not saying it won't be good because I know it's got a lot of people excited, but I probably am not convinced by it and don't really see that as a pickup straight away. Unlike the other announcement of Fate of the Old Republic. Now, I just want to clarify, I'm not 100% sure if this is the Kotar remake, just different, or if it's completely separate, but this has got me very excited. Knights of the Old Republic was one of my favorite. Sorry, let me rephrase that. Knights of the Old Republic is my favorite Star Wars game. Better than Force Unleashed, better than the Battlefronts, better than the Jedi games. It is brilliant. So, a new gen console game, probably like the PS6 when it comes out, of this just really excites me. The graphics, the cinematography, the quality of it just kind of oozes from that trailer. You get it. But what I'm really excited about now is you look at we're in 2025. We're at the end of 2025. Looking for the next 5 years up to 2030, we have got some really exciting games on the cards. So we've got Fate of the Old Republic, which we've just spoken about. We've got potentially the Knights of the Old Republic remake, which I know isn't new, but it's still a game that will probably come out within the next 5 years. Jedi 3, whatever that turns out to be. We've got Star Wars Eclipse, which at first when I saw this Fate of the Old Republic trailer, I'm like, oh, okay, this is just the rebrand of Eclipse. But no, separate game, separate studios making their games, and also different time periods. I think Eclipse is focusing in the High Republic era, whereas Fate of the Old Republic is in the Old Republic period. But 3 games plus potentially Battlefront 3, we might be in for some treats in the next couple of years. I don't think anything's on the card for next year except for Zero Company, which is a strategy game. But then 2027, 2028, 2029, 2030, yeah, we could have all of these games, which is a really exciting prospect because, you know, as much as Star Wars has always been very, I would say it delivers a certain aesthetic quality. Even though Outlaws wasn't the best game, it was different and it looked pretty good and it had a unique feel to it. These look like they're just going to be quality stories. And that is what really excites me because with the Star Wars landscape as is, with the uncertain future of some of the shows, obviously we've got some movies coming out in the next couple of years. Just, yeah, the gaming landscape has been a bit, especially over the last couple of years. But now they're really going to start pushing it with some of these titles that we really have wanted for a long time. And I'm so excited. I'm so down for this. In other Star Wars news, Daisy Ridley has confirmed that the Rey movie is still in active development. We have not heard many updates from that, but it is still going ahead. I think there's a lot of quotes about saying like the best things take a long time to get right. I believe there's a script that's ready and Daisy Ridley seems to really enjoy it. She has come out also saying that she supported the Ben Solo project. I think everyone supported that project and I don't know why they cut it, but anyway, we'll have to wait and see if that comes to light, but probably not. But in terms of the Rey movie, that is still going ahead. I think they were announcing like a 2027 release date. I don't think that's possible. I would say maybe it's going to be 2028, 2029, depending on when it gets greenlit, depending on when it can actually start being developed and shot. But in terms of other movies like Mandalorian and Grogu, we've spoken about a couple of weeks ago. That's coming soon. The official trailer, which we're hoping is a bit better than the teaser trailer, is supposed to be coming out in February. Maybe attached to the Super Bowl, probably attached to the Super Bowl. So that will be exciting to see. Hopefully a better trailer because I know there was a lot of disappointment around the teaser trailer just because it felt so so recycled. And then the other movie to talk about is Starfighter, which has wrapped filming. Sean Levy has confirmed it's wrapped filming. So we give it a year for post production. We're looking at a Christmas release 2027, 2026. Yeah, 2026. There you go. So this time next year, we should have Star Wars Starfighter, which I'm very, very excited for. Ryan Gosling and a bunch of other talented actors with a very passionate director and production runner. Yeah, Starfighter could be something that we really need, and we'll start getting teasers for that. I suppose mid-year next year. So very, very exciting time. Star Wars, with the gaming, the shows, the movies, it's all starting to come together. I think the only other news in relation to the Star Wars like media landscape was that I think Ahsoka season 2 has been delayed a little bit. I can't give you an exact date, and that's just reports I've read. I'm not 100% sure if it's accurate, but I do remember reading that Ahsoka season 2 is going to be delayed by a couple of weeks or a month, which is a shame. But again, like what Daisy Ridley said, good things take time. Now, the other thing for Star Wars I want to talk to you guys about, and I'll flash some images up on the screen as well, is Lego Star Wars. So every year, every like 2-3 times a year, they announce new waves of Star Wars Lego sets. Last year they had a really good run. There were a couple kind of misses, like the turbo tank. We don't talk about the turbo tank, but this wave coming in January 1st, 2026, seems a bit tamer. Seems like they've like, okay, 2025 was a big year. We're going to just come in soft, but still with high quality for 2026. A lot of them I'm not going to talk about because they're mini sets. Like there's a couple of mechs, there's a couple of battle packs, stuff we really don't need to touch on. There was 3 main sets that I guess I want to talk to you guys about. The first one is the mini scale Starship Venator class, which to me looked very similar to I think it was the Acclamator, I think it was the Acclamator class mini Starship that they did in 2025. Obviously, it's just a scaled down version, like massively scaled down version of the UCS one that came out a couple years ago. I don't really like the mini Starship collection. I think it is kind of weak, and especially for the prices that they price these sets at, it's just ridiculous for the return you get. Yeah, it looks great on a shelf. Yes, it's a collector's item, I suppose. But for that much money and for that little pieces, you just want a lot better. They're also clearly starting a new line alongside the mini Starship with like the mini vehicle ones, and they've done a mini AT-AT, which okay, the diorama, not the diorama, the set looks fantastic. It looks really good, but again, it's that price and it's that just lack of pieces that I don't know. It just doesn't sit right with me. So again, Lego is pushing out these sets that are clearly aimed at older, more they're adult sets. They're more adult sets, but they're pricing it at ridiculous prices for a ridiculously low amount of pieces and for little payoff. And I feel like for most Lego builders, we love payoff. We love the payoff of sets. We want to make our money feel like it's worth it. And to see these 400, 500 piece sets coming out, and them only taking like 20 minutes, half an hour to build, really disappointing. It's like the Kylo Ren shuttle last year. It looked phenomenal. It was so, so cool. But it was like 3, maybe 400 pieces for about 70 Australian dollars, 80 Australian dollars. That's just not worth it. It's not worth it. So they're still pushing that, which is a shame. They're not going to stop pushing that because the Star Wars galaxy is filled with so many ships and so many vehicles that they're just going to keep pushing it. The other set they're releasing is a BB-8 build. It's not a UCS build. It's like, I think it was like 800 pieces. Again, there'll be an image flashed on the screen that you can have a look at. I feel okay about this set. The Force Awakens this year was reached its 10th anniversary, so this is a set to celebrate that. And BB-8, I would argue, is one of the more iconic droids of the Star Wars franchise now, which I think says a lot about not only the sequels but the movie, because The Force Awakens, as much as people say, oh, it's just a rehash of The New Hope, which I don't disagree with, it was such a hype time for Star Wars. We hadn't gotten any news or movies or anything about it for such a long time. And to come out with that and still feel so fresh and iconic was really nice. So to see them celebrating The Force Awakens 10-year anniversary is really special. So not a set I'll pick up, but I know a lot of people are excited for it. So that is kind of all the Star Wars news I wanted to cover. Again, it was a lot of like condensed stuff, but Star Wars, we love Star Wars. And 2026 is going to be such a big year. Ahsoka Season 2, Mandalorian and Grogu. We're going to get some shows in there as well. And we'll also cover the Lego sets. You bet we're getting some awesome UCS sets next year. I guarantee. Guarantee. And now, to finish off this podcast, I would like to dedicate a section to one of my favorite directors. Now, everyone has a set of directors or one or two directors that they think to and like, yeah, that's they're my favorite. They do such good work and they are iconic and they give us such good films. For me, it's Christopher Nolan, but that's just because I think the way he delivers films is such a cinematic experience. It's got such high quality, every aspect of it, the writing, the cinematography, the story elements, the plot, it's so well detailed and it's so unique. And I just think that Nolan respects cinema, and I think that it is delivered in such a beautiful way, all of his movies. But he's not the director I want to talk about, because we've spoken about Christopher Nolan plenty of times. The director I want to talk about is Wes Anderson, who I have only discovered this year. And granted, I have not watched all of his films. I have seen four of them, and I love all four of them. But the reason I want to talk about Wes Anderson and review his most recent film, The Phoenician Scheme, is because he's such a clever director. He is so quirky. It is so grand and extreme, his stories, and they go all out, but they're kind of so toned down, and they're very quirky. They're not like serious. It's very laid back. It's more like a craft. It feels like a scrapbook, but like a really nicely presented scrapbook where people are kind of delivering, like Christopher Nolan, I would argue his films are more like a picture book, like a photo album where they capture really beautiful moments and there's so many different moments. Whereas Wes Anderson, I would say, is a scrapbook. There's a lot of things going on and a lot of creativity in there, but it all kind of comes together and looks really nice in the end. So so Wes Anderson, I really appreciate his style of movie and his craft. The movies I have seen from Wes Anderson are The Grand Budapest Hotel, I have seen The French Dispatch, I have seen The Phoenician Scheme, and I've seen The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar, which also came out recently. The Phoenician Scheme, the one I want to talk about, and the reason I want to talk about it is firstly because while I was on my endeavors overseas, for those who don't know, I took a bit of a hiatus on the channel to go travel. The Phoenician Scheme was being played in cinemas all across Europe, and I regret not going to see it, especially after being able to watch it now, because it's such a fun movie. But I'd seen it advertised everywhere, posters, all the cinemas, all the kinos were playing it. And I went and watched Superman, and I want to watch Jurassic World, and I want to watch Fantastic Four and F1 and all those blockbuster films instead of something and like a movie whose director I trust a lot to give me something different and something good. So I do have those regrets. But The Phoenician Scheme to me was everything that I've seen about Wes Anderson's films come together and culminated into the best possible outcome. I don't think it's his best film. I think both Grand Budapest Hotel and French Dispatch are better. But this feels like a culmination. It's got the quirkiness, the humor, the satire, the plot progression, the little quirky bits of charisma, the editing, the style, the bookmarks in the chapter, and just the little like comments, the acting bits and beats. It all just really comes together. And I think there has to be a lot of credit given to the main star of the film, Benicio del Toro, who is just brilliant. He is so good in this film. He just carries it. He's pretty much in every scene. He is a rich man who is trying to be assassinated at every corner. He has a lot of money and assets that he wants to give to his estranged daughter, who he doesn't know, instead of his sons. And it's pretty much the whole film is him trying to convince the daughter, who was played by Mia Threppleton, who I believe it was her first acting gig. She did fantastic. To inherit these assets and this money and this, I guess, it wasn't really a business. And I don't know, it's just a very clever. It is emotion. It's got emotion, but it's also emotionless. It's satire. It's emotionless satire. It's this blank expression exposition that just works for these characters, and that's what makes it funny, I think. So the Phoenician Scheme to me was just such a really nice experience to watch. It's not too long. It's got everything you expect from a Wes Anderson film, and it made me appreciate his style of craft so much more. My favorite scene from this movie, I mean, there's two. There's two. I'll share my other one. But my favorite scene is actually through the billing, when at the start of the film when they go through the billing. It's something like you see in The Hateful Eight, where the whole billing and credits is done at the start of the movie, and it's following a guy through a snowstorm with his horse. I think that's very clever. This is similar. It's the billing done through this small bathroom where a bunch of, I guess, housemaids are doing stuff for Benicio del Toro's character, who's just sitting in a bathtub smoking a cigar, having his breakfast. It's gorgeous. I really, really appreciate that. The other scene that I really like is when Michael Cera's character, who I won't spoil anything about him, he's very good in this film. But Michael Cera's character and Benicio del Toro's character, who I can't remember his name, I think it's Zazar something. His name's Zazar. But they get into a fight, and Michael Cera's character throws Zazar, and it's just a really weird and awkward thrown through the air and landing. It's very funny. It's very funny. I would highly recommend watching Phoenician Scheme, but don't watch it as your introduction to Wes Anderson films. If you really just want a taste of what he does well, watch Grand Budapest Hotel. It's amazing. It's so funny. It is so funny, and it's got exactly what I guess Phoenician Scheme has. I would probably urge people to wait to watch French Dispatch. It is one of my favorite movies of this year that I watched, but I think it's a bit more complicated, and you have to know his craft before you can really appreciate French Dispatch, because there's so many moving parts, so many characters to follow. But this isn't about that. This is about Phoenician Scheme and Wes Anderson, and I just wanted to share my appreciation and my love of his craft, because he just feels so different in comparison to any other director in Hollywood right now. And you bet I will watch all of his films. I will watch all of his upcoming films as well. He's just so good, and I appreciate him so much. And I guess to open it up to the room, to the comments section, to whoever's listening to this podcast, whether you're in the car with someone or whatever, have a discussion. Talk about your favorite directors, why you like them, what movies you appreciate, what specific quirk or beat they do specifically that makes you like these directors or these films that they do, because I think that's really important. We can appreciate movies. We talk about the highest grossing movies of all time. We talk about some of the best directors like Quentin Tarantino, like Christopher McQuarrie, like Chris Nolan, as I was saying before. Just so many good directors that it's important to recognize them, because yeah, the films obviously overshadow, the actors also overshadow the directors who have the vision. I think are the secret weapon to a lot of the success of these films. So yes, have a discussion. Let me know in the comments below as well, because I do want to hear who your guys' favorite directors are. This is what this platform's for, to have this discussion. But you know what? That brings me to the end of my little rant today. We've covered a lot of ground with Avengers, with Star Wars, with Wes Anderson. I don't know if we'll be back for the year. I think this might be the last podcast for the year, which is a shame that, you know, my good friend and co-host Jack is not here to share that, but we are very, very excited for what's coming in 2026. We are working on a ton of different things. Make sure to check out Jack's video coming out either tomorrow or later in the week. He is doing his Pokemon advent calendar opening. That's been a really fun experience to follow. He's also releasing an anime video. Not to say anything too much about that, but that will be coming out shortly. So make sure to subscribe, stay tuned for these videos. And again, thank you for all the support that you've been giving us over the last year. We know it's been a bit of a disrupted year, but we appreciate you sticking with us, and we are very excited for the year to come. All right, have yourself a good morning, good afternoon, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.